But the NHS is more than beds in hospitals. The NHS has grown to an extent where it's covering an awful lot more. Care in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Patient trusts. So is it surprising that we've got more administrators than beds? Beds play a part, but not the overriding part of the NHS. The vast majority of times you use the NHS, it isn't because you're in hospital, is it?
No, but it's right across the public sector. We are seeing huge swathes of money being spent behind in the back office on administration rather on the front facing. I mean, you look at law and order, too much is spent on keeping police officers off the streets where people want to see them in the NHS. We need to just release that money, whether it's in GP surgeries. We would like to extend their opening times from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week so people can get treatment locally and quicker, give people greater choice. And to do that, you have to take the money from the back office where it isn't helping people and front-load it onto the frontline services to make a real difference to people's use of the services and facilities available.
But then, as I said to Anne a little earlier, the fact that it is such an important organisation, surely we can't just let it run without management.
No, of course you still have management, but you have less political interference, political meddling, changing, setting unrealistic targets, trying to chase headlines. These people are professionals, they know what they're doing. We should put trust in the people who know the best way to deliver patient care.
Justin, thanks very much. I think we're going to take a short break here. We'll be back. Time just coming up to 13 minutes to 12 o'clock. Talking to Justin Tomlinson, prospective Conservative candidate for the North Swindon election. And hopefully, Justin, you're going to be able to clarify a few points for us. What's happening with the Wi-Fi in Swindon? I mean, it was a giveaway. It's a freebie. Everybody can have 3 hours. Free access to 20 megabyte downloads. It's going to be incredibly fast. Going to be the best thing since sliced bread. And suddenly, the most wonderful opportunity has come back, and it's smacked us straight in the teeth, hasn't it?
That's not how I recognise the situation. Swindon Borough Council.
We have a situation where we seem to be having had something which was such a great thing, and there has been such an argument about it. We don't even know where the company who's installing it comes from.
Right, so if you want me to explain. Right, but Swindon Borough Council, like all councils across the country, has increasing cost pressures. We have an ageing population, which means we have to pay out lots more money for adult social care, etc., etc. At the same time, local residents rightly want to keep council tax down. So councils right across the country are always looking for opportunities to find extra ways to generate income to help pay for extra costs of services and also keep council tax affordable. We had an opportunity as a council to invest in the Wi-Fi scheme, and it was an exciting principle, which actually all of the political parties support the principle of this scheme because it will allow residents, it's 2 hours, not 3 hours, free access to Wi-Fi with up to 20 megabytes download. And as an Abbey Meads ward councillor, a lot of my residents can't get broadband at all. And I know the first 18 months that I lived in my house in Tor Hill, I was still on dial-up, which was an absolute nightmare. So we welcome the principle, but it is a hugely complex deal. And Highworth has been launched, Highworth is up and running, and for the next stage, as it starts to roll out across the rest of the town, the Swindon Borough Council will need to confirm the second part of its investment, and that has to go through correct, proper procedures. And actually my role on the council, on scrutiny, is to make sure every dot and every T is crossed, and twice I have made sure that decision has been referred back to make sure we're 100% watertight and everybody's supportive of that. And that's actually an example again of where I as a politician will always try and do what I think is right regardless of politics, and over the 10 years as a councillor I've done that on a number of occasions. But I'm very confident that this scheme will be a huge benefit to residents, both those who sign up to use it and also to Swindon Borough Council as it generates income, in particular as we sell it to other councils. We've had people from Russia come to look at it. This is an exciting thing, and actually all we have done so far is loan the company some money, and in return we will get that loan back, plus we get 35% of the profits from the business. So, I mean, with anything there's always an element of risk, but all the parties are supportive of the principle, and I will always make sure I do my part to make sure procedures are done correctly, especially when it is such a high-profile issue as this.
And just roughly, how many people have actually signed up to it?
I'm not aware, because of, I mean, that will have been discussed at Cabinet. This will be one of the questions we'll be looking at scrutiny, but it's one of those systems where I believe there's something like 600 people in Highworth have expressed an interest. I'm not sure how many of them are actually paying the premium service, because there's two ways to make income. One is that they sign people up to use it, and the second way is that the system is then sold on to other areas, and we are a pathfinder in what is a very new technology, and suddenly all of us who have limited knowledge of IT are becoming relative experts. But, it's an exciting thing, and once again, Swindon Borough Council is showing it's willing to take a lead.
Justin, do you reckon that the Wi-Fi scheme would have benefited the idea that the council had for this? And it's all about social inclusion as well, which is a great thing that we're all supportive of, that it would have benefited from being tendered out like any other sort of, like Swindon Commercial Services can bid for contracts with the council to provide, say, bus services like Thames Down do for the council. Do you reckon it could have been, we could have get more value for money from that?
It's not quite the same, because if we wish to tender a bus service, there are a number of companies that provide bus services, and you say, we would like you to do X number of routes, X number of times a day. How much will you charge to do this? This is a new system, a new technology that is being brought forward, and they gave the opportunity for Swindon Council to be a part of that. And the other saving that we'll make is, as a council, we spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on internet access ourselves. As it is rolled out across the whole of the town, we will be able to save that money from there. So that, it's an exciting proposal. It's a very complicated one, and what I can promise is, as whilst I was the councillor, I've been very careful to make sure procedures are done right. Whether people like that or not, that's not my problem. I have a role to do, and if I'm fortunate enough to be elected as the MP, I do that on this issue and any other issue, because as a local resident, I share and understand the concerns and the benefits that are available on this.
Do you think large companies like BT or Virgin Media would have been big enough to be able to deal with this complex sort of this scheme, or do you reckon?
I have no doubt they're watching very, very carefully, and maybe they'll come in and they'll want to have a slice of the cake at some point. But then, if they ended up doing something like that, then again, it's an exciting prospect for the business that we've invested in.
So, from your local councillor's perspective, do you think that you'll ensure, before, of course, you've got a few more weeks left, that up until when you finish, you can guarantee to us that the scrutiny you'll
absolutely.
Due diligence will keep done.
I've twice led on where scrutiny's role is not to comment on the morality of a decision, whether it's the right or wrong decision. We have to look at procedures, and on a very complicated decision like this, and it's very handy that actually I own my own business. I've got a good understanding of how sort of contracts and things are drawn up. Is that we make sure things are done properly, and I've had no problem deferring this twice. I know it's brought delays in, but I want to make sure it's 100% right. And going back to my role as a ward councillor, as I said right at the beginning, my residents I represent are not being well supplied by companies like BT with broadband, and it is an opportunity for more of my residents to get access to broadband, which in this day and age is an essential service for people.